buys a condo, sees the HOA fee listed at $280 a month, mentally files it as basically a utility bill, and moves on. She never actually reads what that fee is supposed to cover, or whether the association has enough saved up to cover what it doesn't. 18 months later, a letter arrives. Special assessment, $4,200, due within 60 days. Her share of a roof the building's reserve fund never had enough saved to cover. Here's the number that should stop you mid-scroll. Median HOA dues jumped 44% in a single recent year, and nearly 10% of associations issued a special assessment on top of that. A real, documented shift, not a rare edge case. This isn't a video telling you HOAs are a scam, or that you should never buy in one. Some are genuinely well run. It's a video about the specific document nobody reads before buying, and what it would have actually told Renee. Let me show you what to check. My name is Alex, and today on Wealth Adjacent, we're taking apart the fee everyone budgets for and almost nobody actually investigates. Quick disclaimer, not financial advice, just documented data on HOA finances, and this varies enormously by association. Let's meet Renee. Careful buyer, got an inspection, compared listings closely, read the standard disclosure paperwork front to back. The one document she never specifically asked to see was the HOA's own financials. Here's the actual mechanism. Monthly dues cover routine costs, landscaping, insurance, day-to-day upkeep, the predictable, recurring expenses of running a shared property. Reserve funds are supposed to cover the big, predictable, eventually expenses, a roof, a parking structure, major repairs that don't happen every year but absolutely will happen eventually. When reserves fall short of what's actually needed, a special assessment covers the gap, and it lands on every owner at once, regardless of how long they've lived there or whether they had any say in how reserves were managed. Here's the part that should make you sit up. A significant share of associations nationally are underfunded, holding meaningfully less in reserves than they'd actually need for known future repairs, some holding less than 3/4 of the recommended amount. Keeping monthly dues artificially low looks appealing to buyers in the moment, since it makes the listing look more affordable on paper. And it's exactly what sets up a large, sudden bill later, once deferred maintenance finally can't be deferred any further. This shows up because the monthly number is the only one anyone actually looks at during a purchase. The reserve study, the document showing whether the association has genuinely saved enough for what's coming, sits available on request in most cases, and almost nobody actually requests it, treating the monthly fee as the entire financial picture instead of just the visible half of it. There's a specific document worth naming directly. The reserve study estimates the useful life remaining on major shared components, roofs, elevators, parking structures, and how much should be saved by now to cover their eventual replacement. Comparing what's actually saved against what the study says should be saved is the single number that actually matters, far more than the monthly fee itself, since a low monthly fee sitting on top of a badly underfunded reserve is often the exact combination that produces the biggest surprise bills. There's a specific pattern worth naming around what actually triggers a special assessment, since it's rarely one single cause. Underfunded reserves are the most common root cause, but the specific trigger event tends to be something concrete and unavoidable. Storm damage, a failed roof, a required insurance upgrade, an aging elevator finally needing replacement. The board didn't necessarily do anything wrong in any single year. The shortfall usually built up gradually, across years of dues that were kept just low enough to avoid uncomfortable conversations at annual meetings. There's also a real cost worth naming on the other side: insurance premiums specifically. Insurance for the shared building or common areas has become one of the single biggest drivers of rising HOA costs in recent years, meaning even a well-managed association with healthy reserves can see dues climb meaningfully through no fault of its own, purely from what it now costs to insure the property at all. So here's the actual check, worth doing before any purchase. Request the HOA's most recent reserve study and financial statements. Most sellers or agents can provide these directly as part of a standard purchase process. Compare current reserves against the study's recommended funding level. A meaningful gap is a real, specific warning sign worth pricing into any offer, not something to discover after closing. It's also worth asking directly whether any special assessment has happened in the past 5 years, and whether one's currently being discussed, a direct question most boards will actually answer honestly, since it's information they're generally required to disclose if specifically asked. It's worth being honest about the other side of this too. A well-run association with healthy reserves and predictable, gradually rising dues is a genuinely reasonable trade for shared maintenance and amenities someone would otherwise have to manage entirely alone. The goal was never to avoid HOAs. It's to actually check the specific financial health of the one attached to any particular property before signing anything. There's a specific pattern worth naming around how special assessment size can vary too, since a small assessment and a genuinely devastating one come from the same underlying mechanism, just at different scales. A minor shortfall might mean a few $100s per owner for a landscaping repair. A major structural issue, a failed roof across an entire building, significant storm damage, can mean an assessment running into the tens of thousands of dollars per unit, a figure that can genuinely rival a down payment for owners caught without warning. There's also a market-level pattern worth naming, since it shows the risk isn't purely theoretical from a buyer's perspective. Properties and associations with known reserve concerns or pending assessments have been shown to sell at a real, measurable discount compared to otherwise similar properties, which means the market itself is already pricing in exactly the risk this video is describing. Buyers who do the research get to negotiate accordingly, while buyers who skip it simply inherit the risk at full price. So here's where we land. This isn't about avoiding HOAs entirely. Plenty are genuinely well managed and worth the fee. Renee's next purchase. She requested the reserve study first, found a healthy funding level, and bought with real confidence instead of just checking the monthly number and hoping the rest would work out. Request the reserve study before you buy, not after. If this helped, hit like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, has your HOA ever hit you with a special assessment you didn't see coming? I'll see you in the next one.